So when you're picking these melons for carving, you want to pick one that has a low sound to it. So when you tap it, it should have a fairly low sound. That means it has lower water pressure. It's not, and it'll carve easier for you. Then you want to cut the top and the bottom off the melon. On this cantaloupe flower, we're going to do a lotus flower. And then along the top, with the tip of your knife, just give yourself some marks. And that's just going to help guide your petal placement. So you end up with 5 petals. Okay, so you're going to see a constant theme. Everything's going to be 5 or odd numbers of petals. But just by marking the top of it a little bit like that, it's going to help to guide where the knife is going to go. All of our cuts are going to be made into the center section here. We're not going to cut up into either of the poles, the Arctic or the Antarctic Circle. We're going to stay right here in the middle portion of the melon, otherwise the melon will come apart. Just below one of the marks, you want to plunge your knife straight in. You need to cut into the hollow section in the center of the melon, and using a jigsaw motion to release the friction, you're going to slowly curve out and then end up curving back down. So if we were at the longitudinal lines, the knife is going straight up and down the longitudinal lines of the melon. I started at this mark and then I finished at a point that was halfway in between. So if I go to the next mark and plunge my knife straight in and curve toward that line, eventually as I get closer and closer and turn my knife straight up and down, I'll be at that point that's in between it. So this is the lotus shape that we want to try to get on all the petals. Jigsaw motion releases the friction. You want to make sure that you always start off straight up and down and end up straight up and down. And that's going to give you a nice, elegant shape to the petals. Now, at this point, we would be able to break this melon apart, but we're going to leave it together because we're going to make 2 other cuts. These 2 cuts are going to be a 1/2 inch in depth, and they're going to mimic the outside shape of each one of those petals. So you put your knife at a 1/2 inch on the blade of the knife, you put your finger at a 1/2 inch on the blade of the knife, and then you cut into the melon, releasing 2 inner cuts that replicate the outside shape. So they're kind of bracketed, and they nest right inside of one another on each one of those petals. And after you've gone around and done all 5 on one side, spin the melon around and do all 5 on the other side. So one of the good things about this melon flower is that you get 2 carvings for the price of 1. Okay, when all 5 are done, then you're ready to break the melon apart, and you're going to remove the seeds from inside. So be thorough, but be gentle. Don't gouge too much out of the fruit. The more you bang the spoon around in there, the more damage you're going to do, but you want to make sure you get all of the seeds out. It's just going to look messy if you don't get all the seeds out. Okay, now with the seeds out, what you're going to do is that you're going to carve down following the outside curvature of the melon. So your knife follows the curve, and it's about a 1/4 inch just inside. You see what that's doing? It's cutting through those 2 1/2 inch depth cuts, releasing those portions of the rind. For that person that's allergic to melons, this is a really good melon. I can smell it from here. This is sweet like sugar. So follow the curve around on each of the 5 petals. about a 1/4 inch inside. And then you're ready to push the center, the smallest one of those petals, keep it against the flesh of the melon, and pull the other 2 out over it. And because you have a smaller curve on the inside than you do on the outside, they stay out when you open them up. So this produces a nice little melon flower, right? So this can be done on any type of round melon. You can take it all the way up to a watermelon. You can take it all the way down to a grape and do this same cut if you wanted to. So we'll just put this in display mode over here. We used to serve these filled with a little yogurt and granola for breakfast at the Ritz-Carlton, $10 each.